Yeah, this is Black Light. Right from the jump street. For those of you who don't know, my name is Black Light. I call myself, I put an elder in front of that because I'm 72 years old. I retired from working a 9-to-5 job about 10 years ago. I do part-time work, and I part-time hustle, and I part-time make music. But I full-time liberate my people 24/7. You know, what I mean by liberation is freeing up their minds, try to keep them on the right path. You know, all this immoral and corruption that's in the world, that's what's bringing this country down and the world down, And I only talk about what I know. And I know this because I lived it. Yeah. My experience on the planet, which I called it a classroom. My channel was called Black Light Soul School. You know, your soul is in a school. You're on this problem-solving planet called Earth. And you come out of your father, swimming your way to your mother. When you get to your mother, you're like in an incubator. Your mother nourishes you. All the time she's feeding you information. You don't get your heart and your brain and your vital parts till you reach a certain maturity, from a sperm to an embryo. And then once you become an infant, you're in another environment. This is the process of life, and it has a certain pattern and a certain establishment to it. This environment here in the state of Michigan, Detroit, in the United States of America, has a establishment and a culture that actually is a recent culture and a recent establishment compared to my ancestors who lived on the planet eons of years in a different type of culture, in a different type of environment, speaking a different type of language. But the language that we speaking now derived from the language that my ancestors taught. This environment derived from my ancestors' environment. But the only difference is it's a negative environment, because the Creator, which says in the Bible, Genesis says, be fruitful and multiply. That was a demand, a command. It wasn't a request. And he programmed us to be fruitful and multiply. But this environment that we're living in now is the opposite. Although it's based on those ancient cultures, it's not what I call organic. It turned what's natural into unnatural. So all that being said is that I recognize the discrepancy in this culture. And so the children are being brought up in an unnatural way. They are programmed to submit to an unnatural being that's not natural to the planet. Now, I feel it's my job and my duty to wake my people up. Now, I don't take comment. I mean, you could comment or whatever, however you do it, but I don't open the lines up and or open my comment box up for people to agree with me or disagree. You could take it or leave anything I say. If you don't agree, cool. You know, you could call me any kind of name you want. You can even threaten me. I'm not going to respond to it any kind of way, because that's taken away. You know, like I say, this culture here is a negative. Negative means to take away or to divide. And when you find people slinging mud, throwing shade, roasting, beefing with one another, causing suspicion with no foundation, you know, the young ones don't know the difference, because they were just recently born. They were just recently put on the planet. The elders, most of them are brainwashed. The elders are either sick or dead. It's hard to find someone my age, 72, that's not under some kind of mind control. I had a unique upbringing that let my mind be free, and I resisted all programming. I came up the same way that everybody else did, going to grade school up here in Detroit, elementary, kindergarten. That's where they start getting you, programming you at in school. Then your peers, they follow the trend, and you get locked in a certain lifestyle or a certain way. But see, me, I couldn't let, I don't know, I can't let nobody control me. You know, after I lived it, I just had a taste of it. You know, I wet my feet with it. You know, just like if you taste some cuisine that you never tasted before, but you don't know if you like it or not, and you taste it, and if it don't taste good, you leave it alone. But some people, just to be in the in crowd, they go ahead on and stomach it. Like, say if they introduce snails as a exquisite uh, dish, you know, everybody up there, have you tasted snails? It's good, guys, it's good. Next thing you know, just because you see most of the people on this snail trend, you taste it, it might taste nasty to you, but you'll tolerate the taste and then eventually get to like it because everybody else is doing it. I always, was different. Uh, just like, Prince was the type of cat that wanted to be different. He made his own clothes, stuff like that. I don't go as far as Prince go because I don't want to be looked at as a queer or someone so different. You know, I'm so far out there. I'm a space cadet. I don't want to be looked like that. So I dress something similar to the population, but my mind ain't like that. See, you can lock yourself in your own prison by letting the population guide your mind. And I never wanted to be locked like that. And Jesus said it more best. He said it best when he said, be in the world, but not of the world. And so I got to do some things in accordance to the population because the school of fish is swimming that way. But I got my own thoughts. I experience just about what everybody else did, but I don't stay there. This is what gives you knowledge of all things. Otherwise, you don't know what you're talking about. You got to experience in order to know what you're talking about. Now, I didn't experience most of the major organizations and establishment in my 72 years. I've been in gangs. I had gangs. I've been dibbling and dabbling and this and that and the other, enough to experience and find out if I like the taste of it or not. And after careful thought, I don't like the taste of what this system got to offer. No, it always got a toxic feedback to it, a repercussion. And I noticed that in the days of our forefathers, they were more organic and they did things natural, not unnatural. We're going to get into that on the next video. This is Black Light. Stay tuned.